control. Me see the young man got no love, no love, no love in them heart. We see them gone, no love at all. That's why this wicked jump on them off fall. Little lion say.
Greetings and welcome to Jesse I Interviews, recorded and produced on the unceded lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. For anyone new to the podcast, my name is Jesse I, and I'm a reggae DJ and radio host from Melbourne, Australia, where I've been broadcasting my program Babylon Burning, originally called Chant Down Babylon, since 1997. This podcast was created as a way for me to showcase all of the various reggae-related interviews that I've done over the years, so that they don't just languish on my computer hard drive, never to be heard again. The interviews are presented here totally unedited, including any incidental behind-the-scenes type recordings. This episode actually features a new interview though, recorded just last week here in Melbourne. It features Nico from Little Lion Sound and Evidence Music, who I've known for many years now, but hadn't actually talked to for quite a long time. This one was fascinating to me for the insight it provided into the new world of reggae promotion, where going viral on a platform like TikTok or Instagram can mean sudden exposure to millions and millions of people, not even necessarily reggae fans per se. Even if you're totally unfamiliar with Little Lion Sound, I reckon this interview is well worth the listen, as it deals with some topics I haven't really covered in other interviews. Let's get into it. Jesse I interviews Nico from Little Lion Sound and Evidence Music.
Say the buckle must be worn. Oh.
Alright, so right now I'm joined by Nico from Little Lion Sound. How do you introduce yourself normally? If somebody was to say, who are you? How do you describe yourself or introduce yourself?
Well, it's hard because, I'm doing many different things, but I think mainly, I would say a DJ, selector and producer.
Yep. Yeah. Now, I like to always start my interviews with a bit of background on the person. So, where were you born and what was life like for you growing up?
So, I'm born in Geneva, Switzerland, back in 1992. So it was, grew up in the countryside of Geneva, and I discovered reggae music really when I was, I would say 10 or 11 through my older brother. Okay. And it's actually when I was 12 I started to work for Reggae Fever. That used to be like a big record shop and a distributor for vinyl in Europe, and they had a shop in Geneva, and I did like a quick internship over there.
When you were 12?
Yeah, when I was 12. Like in school you had to do like a one week to discover a job, and I loved reggae and there was this shop. I just applied, they accepted to have me for a week, and then every time I finished school I was going over there and do some work.
So when you got into reggae at such a young age, because that's very young to get into reggae, like what reggae was it that first appealed to you?
Well, I would say like some Dennis Brown album, Bob Marley, classics. Yeah.
So tell me about the internship and how it went from there. I remember Reggae Fever. I remember from back in the day.
Yeah, it was really big. So I was just, people were coming looking for some records, and sometimes they were just like singing the melody of the track or asking for a specific rhythm. And I really discovered like how the Jamaican music industry was working, and actually reggae music with the rhythm, the different artists, and my work was actually to take the requests from the people and try to find the records that they were looking for, and as well like they would listen to the tracks on the turntable and just put them aside, and I had to just put back the records in the store and stuff.
So was this mainly 45s or LPs?
Both, yeah. I think at the end of the shop we had like 45,000 reference in the shop.
That's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
So to have access, I'm just thinking like, 'cause when I was a kid, like when I was 18, I moved to Melbourne, and I learned the city by taking the train out to all different record stores. But there'd be like 5 or 6 albums in each one, not like 45,000 records. So like your knowledge of reggae from a young age must have been pretty huge.
Yeah. Well, I had to capture it, and as I said, to have access to all those records, and as well they had like the computer with all the reference, and we could look which artist was on which record and try to find it into the shop easily. And I realized how huge and how prolific the Jamaican music industry was. Yeah.
So where did it go from there?
Well, after I started to play, because they couldn't pay me, because it was illegal to pay some youth, so they were just giving me records, and I always had like prime access to all the latest stuff coming from Jamaica, because it was me that was receiving the package, opening them, and so I started to play, and I always had like the latest songs, and I knew what was trending because I was seeing people buying the records, so I started to play, and from there lots of people like get interest to book me, and as well that was like a little hype to have these young youths playing some records for your party, and from there I started to play on a regular basis, and then at 15 I met Genali that joined the sound, and then together we really start to take it to another level, organize dance in Geneva, starting to organize tour for artists. And at 18 I left to New York for 6 months, where I lived with Wayne Smith, and I really like learn about the music industry, the studio, the recording, and all of that.
When you say you live with Wayne Smith, you mean like under Miss Langtang Wayne Smith?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How did that happen? How did you come to live with him?
Well, it's Derek Sound that now I get Evidence Music with. At the time we were really close friends, and we still are, but we didn't have the label back then. And so then they met Wayne in London, and me, I really wanted to go to New York, and I said, well, do you have any links with artists? And they said, we got Wayne Smith links. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to try to link him, but I thought he was really rich, because for me it was like the slang thing.
Famous artist.
So I just left to New York with his number, and I just called, and he said, yeah, just come. So I went to the Bronx, met him. I realized that he was living like in a one-room apartment with the entire family.
Right.
But he was really welcoming, and I was really young, and he said, no, Nico, just stay at my place. So I ended up staying for 6 months with him.
Wow, that's
and
cool.
he had in the same room, actually, the studio, living in there, everything was inside.
That's cool.
And you had every day you got like legend, Johnny Osborne, Shabba Ranks, Chuck Turner, the meditation. Actually, Ansel Meditation was just living one stair up from Wayne, and from there I really started as well to organize the Uplit session, where I have like a great link with all those artists, and lots of soundmen across the world were looking for those artists. So I started to record the Uplit from all those legends in New York.
So when did you first start cutting dub plates for Little Lion?
I think when I was 15, 16,
right.
But it was much more like we were recording some friends,
right?
And just calling Little Lion Sound, naming it, because we didn't have no money to pay the artists. But we already had like these vibes of recording dub plate, and actually we had like some hits with dub plate in the streets in Geneva, because we were already putting the dubs on YouTube and the recording.
Right.
And that was making waves back then.
That's crazy.
In Geneva.
So when you were in New York and you were cutting dub plates, you were voicing for other sounds as well?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have the money to pay the artists, so that was really my way to get some dub plate for Little Lion, was to gather a certain amount of work, recording the artist, and in exchange you will voice a couple of dubs for me for free.
Yep. That's a good way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Janali. Now, he was part of when you came to Australia the first time.
Yeah.
He was with you. He was part of the sound then. We were just talking before the interview. But let's rewind, and maybe because he's not here, if you can just tell us a little about him and his part in the sound.
So Janali is 1 or 2 years older than me. He grew up actually in Australia, and moved back to Switzerland when he was 6 or 7, something like that. And we met because I was coming from the countryside, and he was living really in the center of the town next to the train station. And so in the park we always meet. And he was really like a fan of hip hop, and me of reggae. And we were doing a lot of dances for the youth, like college youth parties, and we realized that to mix together and have his hip hop influence with my reggae ones, that was really like a great asset and a great mix to much of any dance. And at this point we decided to do Little Lion Sound together.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's stepped back in recent times. You said from COVID.
Yeah, exactly. From the COVID, he decided to go back to university. Now he's a primary teacher, and as well, what he realized is like with the time and all the dance that we've been doing throughout the years, it was like we missed like a lot, a birthday party, weddings, and all of that. And I'm really happy for him because the decision that he took, he is really fulfilled with it.
Yeah, that's good. So you guys were out here. What year was it that you first came to Melbourne? Because I remember you played More Fire.
We played More Fire and I Love Dancehall.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
And then you did a Clash in Byron Bay. Was it the same tour?
Yeah, that was the same tour. Yeah. I think the last dance was the Clash. Maybe. Yeah.
I can't remember what year that is off the top of my head.
2017, maybe 16.
Really?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I remember that. I was really impressed by you guys that time. That was before like the big hype and everything. But I remember being super impressed by how professional you guys were and the way you played and the dub plates you had. There was a full package. So I wasn't surprised to see you guys get bigger and bigger after that. But it's been amazing, the explosion just in the last few years. Like you went super viral, and now millions of followers on YouTube and Instagram and everything. So can you tell us where was the turning point where things like stepped up a notch like that?
So you get to realize that in 2013 I created with Derek Sound Evidence Music.
Yep.
So I switched a bit from the sound system to much more the production and the label.
Yep.
So I was starting to do less and less dances on a regular basis. I was still touring internationally, but I tried to put the sound a bit aside and much more focus on the production.
Yep.
We've been really successful with the label initially with like some pop hits and hip-hop hits in Switzerland, where we win twice the Swiss Music Awards 2 years in a row with some pop acts. And we try to really implement like the knowledge that we gather from this exposure and mainstream experience with artists through the reggae act and the reggae production that we were doing. And so then I think I wasn't labeling most of the stuff that we were doing under Little Lion Sound or nothing. I was just like, it's really like two different entities.
Yeah.
But I realized at a certain point that I was playing some dances and playing my production, but people never realized that was mine. And I said, man, I should just brand it a little bit more to Little Lion Sound, and that would definitely make sense as well for the booking and for the exposure to do it this way. And I think it was 2020 or 2021. I was in Ghana with an act, Danitza, with who we won the Swiss Music Awards, and I was like telling her what she should do with the social media and stuff, and she was like, no, I know exactly what I should do. And I said, yeah, but I don't think that's the right way. So we just set up a challenge for the 2 weeks where we were in Ghana, and I said, okay, well, I'm gonna apply like what I'm telling you to the Little Lion Sound profile, and you're gonna do like what you feel like you should do on your own. At the time, I think I had like 3,000 or 4,000 followers, and she had like 50,000. But at the end of the 2 weeks, I had like 60,000, and she still had the same 50,000. And for me, that was like a click in my mind. I was like, I've been, pushing a lot of artists and telling them what they should do. Sometimes they were listening, sometimes not. Well, it's a part of the job, but I was really putting a lot of energy for other people. And I said, well, at a certain point, I should just like as well apply it to myself and not just for them. And it's as well a good example as well. If you have like a good knowledge and a certain amount of followers, maybe the artist will listen me a little bit more. So I just kept doing it after this trip, and it was just growing and yeah.
Without going into that too much, because it probably take time, but what's the secret? What sort of things were you telling her?
But I think that the secret is really to always think that the social media is not always what you're living, but is what you want to show to the people. Perception. What your life is, and always keep that in mind. And that when you're traveling, there is an experience that people would love to see. There is not like you don't have to share your entire personal life, but it is much more like the experience you're doing is something that people like, and as well is the consistency and the professionalism with the content, because you get to take like the artist as a brand, and like the reflection of the brand will be your social media. And if you stay consistent with regular content and a certain level of content, I think it can just grow.
I think anything you say about social media people should listen to, because you've proven, like, more than most people I can think of, that about how to go viral. Like, you had some crazy things go viral, particularly like the No Love Queen Amiga. What was that like for you? It must have been exciting for you watching these things take off, you know, putting these things up, and then
it's hard to say, because, you know, as I was doing it a lot for other people, I always had like a step back for the Little Lion Sound numbers. That for me it was a project that is mine, but it's not like directly connected. I don't know how to say that. So when I saw all this, you know, enthusiasm around the project, I was like, hey, that's great, but for me it's like still just numbers. But when you travel and you meet people and you see the influence that your music could have on people, and the way they as well follow all your work, you realize that that's really great, and it's actual people and not just numbers.
Getting back to Evidence Music, as well as the productions, you distribute a lot of music for people as well, right? I'm interested in how that side of things has changed, because like when I think about digital distribution, or reggae music distribution in general, in the old days it was 45s, and you know, everybody had to buy their 45s, and that was a whole thing onto itself. But then when MP3s took over, I remember in the early days it was like Johnny Wonder had his blast, and it was like, you know, you got to be on Johnny Wonder's email list to get all the new Jamaican tunes. And then there started to be other companies coming up. You had Zojak and Rhythm Stream and all these different people doing these blasts. And then in recent years, then like obviously you guys have become a name. So tell me about that side of things, the digital distribution.
So if you want, when we created the label, everyone was like, reggae music is gonna die, because it was mainly like the physical stuff that was bringing money in. The vinyl was going really down. They were closing down the press in Jamaica. The CD was dead. It was all about the pirate streams and all of that. And we decided, we said, okay, well, no matter what, we're gonna produce some music, so we got to try to find a way to make some money out of it. And from the early stage, we said, okay, well, physical gonna die. We're just gonna put that aside and just try to make a living out of the streams, and just try to get all the information about it. Try to have a strong knowledge about it, and try to go with the growth of the market and the direction that the market was going. Everyone thought that we were a bit crazy, because they were like, hey, it's a few cents for each stream, so imagine to make really a living out of it. But step by step, you know, we became like expert into this digital streaming world. We make like strong relation with the various platform, and the knowledge that we had make us able, you know, to stand with some records out of the rest in the digital world, and it brings interest to other producers to give us license and develop their project, and it's now how we became like one of the main distributor for reggae music.
Obviously, being based in Europe, you'd be a natural go-to for European artists, but you also work with a lot of Jamaican artists. Like, I think of Bugle is one of the names, because I've always been a big Bugle fan. How did you develop those relationships with the different Jamaican artists?
Well, I think always there is something that's replicated every time. Is like, we're gonna start by producing a track with the artist, build up a relationship, and step by step the artist will be interested, because most of the artists as well have they're working with different producers, and sometimes they produce their song on their side, and they see how we work and the impact that we have on the market, and most time they're gonna just reach us again and say, okay, well, let's try to do something more, and step by step we build a project with them. Actually, now the big upcoming project that we have is the Capleton album. We got a brand new Capleton album that's gonna drop in February, and that it's like Capleton was one of the first artists that we voiced like for a big production back in 2013. So it's been more than 10 years that we've been working with him, and I think it's this relationship of the 12 years of collaboration that led to now an album together.
Yeah.
So that wasn't out of the blue. That, and most time it's like this when we work with artists, and if you do good, well, there is greater things to be done.
Yeah. We were just talking before the interview that last time you were in Jamaica was December, just gone.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that trip?
Yeah, so that trip, it was funny because it's like I got a friend working for the Swiss National TV, and he just called me and said, yeah, he's trying to pitching a documentary about me in Jamaica. And he called me in February telling me that it might be possible for December, but I never heard nothing from him till November. And like 2 weeks before December, he called me and he said, "Yeah, I get the funding from the TV to make the documentary." So we just decided to go, and the documentary was a documentary about the upcoming Little Lion Sound album. So like in 2 weeks, I had to create all the rhythms, start to link the artists, think about like what the project will be, and yeah, it actually worked. Like in 2 weeks. I built the rhythm, asked other people as well for some rhythms, and after 2 weeks in Jamaica, and during the 2 weeks record, I think it was 20 or 25 songs and more than 200 dubplates.
Wow.
It was non-stop, and as well to see the impact that we have in Jamaica now, that was crazy. To see artists, making the queue just to come in the studio, try to either make a production or a dubplate or just link me up. That was crazy.
Well, it must be a nice position to be in, because I mean, I'm sure artists know, they've seen some of your things go viral, so they know like the possibility they can bust in a big way. If the thing connects, so it's a big change from other sounds that might be going to Jamaica and have to work hard to find the artist and pay the artist a voice and this and that. But at the same time, that comes with pressure as well. Like I'm sure it's like quite a can be full on and tiring at times. Like constant stream of people asking, they want you to do this and that. What are the highlights and standouts from that though?
For me, it's really to be able to link really nearly any artist that we were trying back in the days, like a few years ago, to reach out, and it was totally impossible. And that now being able to just in 1 or 2 phone call, having the artist interested, and that they respect the timing, and they come one time, and everyone has the same spirit, which is trying to make the best song where we can. And it's really changed like the mentality and the work ethic when we're doing some songs. So that's really for me the nicest thing.
That's cool. Speaking of change, what do you think about the state of Jamaican music and dancehall in particular these days? Because dancehall is obviously an always changing sound. It never stays the same. But in the recent years, it's been dominated by the dark trap sort of trap dancehall sound. How do you find that sound?
For me, it's tricky because I feel like there is a big gap between like reggae and dancehall fans in Europe in general and the Jamaican market. And you hardly find dancers in Europe where they will play like the latest Jamaican dancer. And as well, if you go to a dance in Jamaica and you're a reggae or dancehall fan from Europe, well, you're not so satisfied. So. For me, there is like a big cultural gap in the movement, and that as well brings some issue because there is artists that are big in Jamaica and struggle to find or line up a tour in Europe because like what they would expect from the hype that they get in Jamaica is not at all the same that it will be in Europe, and the other way around as well. There is artists that are big in Europe, have big names, can fill up venues, but when they go back to Jamaica, they're not out at all. Like they hardly bring 100 people for a show.
I've experienced that here. Like even that's one thing with More Fire, because the dance More Fire that we do here, as you know, we've always played new Jamaican reggae and dancehall. Like so, early in the night might be more reggae, later in the night might be more dancehall, but in recent times it's felt like such a huge gap between the like reggae side of things and then if you're going to play new dancehall and you're playing like Chronic Law and Valiant and and Skeng and all those kind of artists is so different.
Yeah.
Like it used to be in the old days, you know, you could have your Capleton and Sizzler reggae tunes, and then your Capleton and Sizzler dancehall tunes, and it still worked together. But now it's like different worlds almost. So tell me about what's coming up next for Little Lion and Evidence Music both.
So for Little Lion, so I got this album that we did in Jamaica. I think I'm gonna drop it at the end of 2026. Before I'm gonna drop a compilation of what I've been releasing for the past 2 years, because I realized that the last really album was Kingston Journey in 2019, and I didn't drop a real album until now. So I just dropped like one redeems and stuff like this. So I think it's a good move to compile some of the release that I've been dropping for the past 2 years. I just signed a new deal with a booking company in Europe. So until now I was doing all the booking myself, and I'm really looking forward to this collaboration, because that can really help me to have better booking and more bookings for 2026. So I'm gonna really start to much more focus on the Europe market, trying to have more show. And for Evidence Music we got really a lot of production ongoing one. So there is this great project with Capleton. We just dropped his album last week. We got like Derek's album as well that dropped 1 month ago. We're working too on a new Breda Culture album, a new Junior Dread album, and I think we get more than 100 songs waiting to be released. We're working as well on a new Lutan Fire album that we just start to work on it, and after as well on all the license that we have and all the collaboration with the other producer, there is really some great stuff coming up.
Cool. Do you ever clash anymore?
I actually clashed last summer in France at the Dub Camp against Artica, but the setup wasn't the greatest one, because they tried to do the clash during the afternoon, and it like the sun was blazing hot, and we just end up having like 20 people for this clash. So that wasn't like the greatest set ever. But I'm definitely willing to do more clash. The only thing is that with the amount of work that I get with the label, with Little Lion Sound at the moment, it's really hard to be able to focus really on a clash. If I take a clash, it means that I would have time really to prepare to do it properly. But I love it, so I will definitely, depending on the condition, when it is and against who, I will definitely be up.
Cool. And speaking of loving it, like obviously your passion for everything you do hasn't changed, and so this is going to be this is it from now, right?
I hope so. Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
And it's a good life. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to speak to me.
Yeah, thanks to you.
Enough blessings, man.
Yeah, respect that.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
Nico and Janali, J Prince for the youths, for the truths.
Nico from Evidence Music and Little Lion Sound speaking to me just last week, December 2025, here in Melbourne, Australia. I checked the archives after this one, and Little Lion Sound first played in Melbourne at More Fire back in December 2016, so almost exactly 9 years ago. That's it for this one. As always, more love to the Patreon supporters, the Don Armageddon Time, the Real General Empress Irie, and me Idrins Tom Tanaki and Ben Debney. Thanks for listening. Eyes as every time.
Representing for Little Lion Sound again, yo. A Little Lion I go kill a sound, yeah, boy. I want to tell me that sound, tell I that sound. Keep focus, Little Lion I no joke sound. No can't win no war in the territory. You know much sound little lion them kill and bury. We kill sound and send them to